Good morning. Welcome to Alan's Day. We're going out of the tiny house and we're going into the big house to get something done on there. This is our holiday home down in Tennessee. For those of you who haven't seen the channel, we're from up in Green Bay and we're converting the RV cover into a house. And I come down here, try to get down here for a week every couple months. So that's why it's taking a little while to get the house built. And I'm just at the end of our week here in July here working on the house. So let me give you, mostly my wife Jean, and I think maybe my mom wants to see what I've been doing on the house this week. So I'll give you a brief tour before I get you started on the next project here. So you've seen quite a few other videos. I've had a lot of help working on the house. Rochelle has helped me out quite a bit. Alyssa has helped me out quite a bit. Go back and watch the videos. But here's what we got going on. We got the last door that's got to go right there. So we'll come back to that. Let me sort of just walk you down here and show you what I've been working on. This is eventually going to be the kitchen area, and we've got the deck out here. With a we got a nice view out here, and this is on the north side of the house, so that down here in Tennessee it gets pretty hot, so we got a big overhang up there, so it stays cool on this side of the deck. And continuing on with the tour here, this is going to be the living room. I've already started turning it into a living room. I got the essentials in here. I got my lawn chair, and I got the remotes, and I got a TV. What else you need in life, right? It did get hot down here, so I went to Walmart and I went and got myself a air conditioner dehumidifier. So that dehumidifier air conditioner, it's been keeping this whole house cool. When the thermometer out on the post there, right down over there, was reading 100 degrees, it was pretty nice. And it's actually almost cold in here this morning. So living room, I got to trim around the beams yet. There's plenty to do in here. So this is the main bedroom that I've got set up in here, and I've got it set up with a temporary bed. Grabbed the TV set, grabbed one of the rolling carts, made myself a little TV stand, put some curtains up. But this is what I've been working on in here, is getting this done. So I got the beams trimmed out on there yesterday. I hung some curtains up there yesterday, and finished doing some trim on the closets here. So we're getting there. I've got to put some shelves in the closet here yet, but for the most part, this room is done and off the list and ready for sleeping, which I came out here and I slept in here last night. So bed worked out just fine. Someday we'll get a different one. So since I've got this all set up and this is my clean room, I took and I put a weather strip on the bottom of the door that will keep some of the dust from blowing in here. So this is considered a clean room now. And I got a rug to wipe my feet, or at least the outdoor floor mat. So we'll shut this up. I still got to do the trim around the outside. Maybe I'll get that today. This is the bathroom. Working in here. There's plenty that has to be done in here yet. Just got the vanity set in place here. You saw a video of me setting that in there. I got the shower starting to rough in. This is what I pulled out of the back of the truck that I pre-made this up at home. That is going to be the end wall right here for the shower. I got a curb right here for the shower. This is all going to be tiled, put in there. Got to put the walls on there yet, so yeah, I got plenty to do. I got another closet that's all trimmed out, so that looks good. I got my loft up in there. Just like in the bedroom, I didn't show you that loft, but yeah, that's extra storage. Hopefully it's not going to be junk storage, it's going to be something good. So moving on here. Since the regular kitchen is not done and will not be done for a while just because of the time constraints that I have on this project here. I'm only coming down here a week every once in a while. We needed a temporary kitchen. Oh, better wipe my feet because this is a clean room. And here we go. This is the temporary kitchen. Got a refrigerator. Got some kitchen stuff here. Microwave and a toaster. I think we're all set. And I did put another one of the shades in here yesterday. This room is done. This one's got a little loft up over the top there. And closet. Got to get my rod across there yet. Maybe a couple shelves in there yet. I didn't get that far thinking yet. So, anyways, moving on. We are going to start putting this door right here. And this is the utility room. And there's going to be a shower there, toilet, utility sink, washer, dryer. This is going to be my bathroom, so I'm told. We got another loft up there. Oop, let's get some lights on here. And all the electrical and everything will be in here. And hopefully I can get a battery backup system mounted up on top there. So I think I'm looking at one of those EcoFlow systems so that when the power goes out, it'll kick in and I'll have some power in here. So still working on the inside of the closet. Still got trim to do, but it's coming along. But what we're after is we need a door right here. Not that we need it now, but I need to get some of these building materials off the floor and in place and out of the way. So let me get this prepped for the door, and I will bring you back when we got her all ready to drop it in there. We are ready to get the door in there. Let me show you how I prep it to put a door in there. There's probably a whole pile of YouTube videos on how to put doors in. I've never watched one. So this is how I do it. First of all, go in here and put a stop on the inside of the door so that when you push it in, it hits up against something solid, because you're going to be putting your trim on here. So if the edge of the door is where it belongs, you're set for your trim. So a stop at the bottom here so that you can push the door into it. One over here. Now another critical area that I do, I don't know if anybody else does it, but on interior doors, I'll always put a 1/2 inch shim under each side to lift the bottom of the door up. A couple of reasons on there. One, if you got a rug on the inside the door, and also to get airflow underneath that door. So that's what I've always done. And you can put a filler piece in there to fill that gap that you have on the bottom. So, shims on the bottom of the door. Get your door up. Next critical part of is your level. The only place that you're going to use the level is on the hinge side of the door. And I verified that my wall is level that direction there. You need the level in 2 directions. And the other direction is this way to make sure that you're level. Now that I've identified that the hinge side is level, don't worry about the other side. That's you do all that by just visual. No leveling or numbers involved with that one. So the other critical piece of the puzzle is at the hinge location. We got 1, 2, 3. I put a shim on there. And you notice the direction of the shim. I have the wide part of the shim towards the hinge side, and the narrow part over here. I always set the hinge side of the jamb at a taper to take the pressure off the hinge. I'll show you that one when we get that far in it. So 3 shims are in place. Next step is ready to drop the door in there. And if you're doing any amount of handling or moving these doors around, get yourself a spacer put across here to hold this frame together, top and bottom. Otherwise, those frames, they're not held together very good, and they definitely don't handle the shipping. You'll bust all your corners out of there. So put your spacers in there and set your spacers at the exact distance that you need. I still have my little pin that came from the factory here. So, and I got 1 screw set in place right here. So when I get it in there, because we know that the hinge side of the door, that's a given, that's a solid. Nothing's going to move, so I'm very comfortable that I can put a screw in there. And the screws that I use are these finished trim head screws here, and it's got a real small head, and you don't hardly notice that the screw is in there. So this is my go-to screw for a lot of finish work that needs a little bit of a structural integrity to it. So get them at Menards. They work out pretty good. I've got a whole variety of different sizes of those. I burn them up. They're sort of pricey, but they're worth it. So let's get this door set in place. And just like that, I got the door dropped in. So I pushed it in against the stops, top and bottom. I put my screw in there to hold it. I put a temporary stop on here to keep this jamb pushed up against my stops in there. So next step is pull my pin out of here. And let's see what we got here. So we got that set. that set. And we're looking pretty good. So now that I see that we got this set in here pretty decent, what we can do is get this side locked in solid. I'll show you that in a second. Now that we're happy that the door fits, next step of the process is you need to take out one of these little screws right here and put in this big screw to get all the way back into the jamb. And you'll only do it at this one location, and you'll do it and make sure that there's a shim behind it. And as you remember, I got the wide part of the shim on this side. This is the skinny part because I want this whole jamb to tip slightly. So set that down tight. Let me do it on the other three, and then we'll come back for the next phase of the project here. Now that we got our three big 2.5 inch deck screws in the hinge to hold it solid, we've got to hold the other side of the jamb, and I already have this one in here already, and I'm gonna put two more in there. Right across from the other one. And you'll draw that in so that this shim is tight on this side, because you can see this whole jamb rolling over this direction here. So it's following the taper of the shim. Like I said, that's critical. And we got to get one more in here. And it pulled over just a little bit. So now this jamb is on here for the next 100 plus years. There's no reason it's got to move. Now the rest of the process is sort of all done with just eyeball and visualing up to make sure everything works. And part of the next step is set the height of the latch side jamb on there. And the way that's done is it's strictly eyeball it up so that that gap and that gap is the same. So this is a little tight right here. So I'm just going to take and put a shim down in the bottom here. So I just slid a shim in there. I still got my stop right here to keep this locked in here. Still got a temporary in here because it's floating. So let me just do what I got to do there. So now you can see that gap and that gap is good. So we're making progress here. Now, let's work our way from the top down, and we'll get on the inside over here, or the outside the door, and shut the door, and make sure your gap is all the same here. And you can see when I shut it, there's a little bitty gap right up on the top there. So, all I have to do is take this that I had in here and move that out a little bit. So now I can move this wherever it has to go. So let me get this secured in place right here. And I can do that with one of my shims because I've got my temporary block here. So I just slide that in there. So I'm still secure. And we can close that up just a little bit more because I got a little gap there. So I slide my shim down until it's closed up a little more. Keep sliding the shim down. There we go. I think I feel good with that. So you're better off with this jamb out a little bit because your trim is going to cover that little imperfection that you have, especially on the back side here, so I'm not too worried about it. So next step is I got to get this shimmed and secured right here. I'll show you how I do that. Well, let me just go a brief overview of what I got so far. I got the back hinge that's level both directions in the world. So we know that's a lock. We got our gap right here that we're looking for. That's the next step. Third step is we got our gap and everything right there, and that is done by adjusting this jamb in or out. So I feel good with that. And the two shims together with the thick part here and the thick part here, that'll bring this evenly out this direction. It'll tighten that gap up there. So let me just push in on here to make sure that that's snug. So shims are in there and snug. Let's check our fit one more time. We got the gap that we're looking for. So let me get a screw in on there. And we got it locked in there. And you can go back after the fact if that bothers you to put some sort of a little putty in there. It doesn't bother me. Let me get one more screw on the other side there. And I will go through and put 2, 4, 6, probably about 6 screws. Now I'll jump from there. The next critical part of this whole operation is right here. This is what's going to determine if this door is gonna last the test of time here. So let me get some shims in there and get some wider shims. Now where the striker goes for the door handle, this is where all the load and pressure is on this door. So pay attention and don't chintz on making sure this area is secure so it's not loosening up over time. So I always take a big longer screw and I'll put it right in that striker hole right here, and I've already got a screw right here. So let me get this driven in there. So I've got that set. I've got my shims in there. And then the next step is to beef this area up here. You see that little gap in right there? Right there. I am going to take my caulking gun, put some, this is lately my go-to caulk right here. And I will take and fill this cavity up right here, all the way down here, and up here with caulking. And what that's going to do is going to take any vibration or extra wiggle out of there and help secure this area right here, because that's the working part of the door there. So and then the next step on there is I've got to get this top shimmed out here, and I think I got room to put a full piece in here, and I'll get some more shims in there and get 2 2 screws up in the top and the center. Get rid of all my other shims, and I'll take and cut all these off with my vibrating tool. I'll take and remove my cross pieces and ties on there. The door install went pretty good. I got all my shims cut off, got all the screws in the jamb. I filled up the cavity behind the striker with caulking. And the next step, trim work. So I've got this trim. This is just a Cedar 1x4. And I take and I cut these up back in Wisconsin. I made a whole pile of them. So the stain I use, or it's not really a stain, it's a sealer. It's Danish oil. Buy it by the gallon. It's about 70 bucks a gallon off Amazon. And I'll just put a coat of that on here to help seal the interior wood on here. So I know what I need right there. I put myself a mark. Let me get my saw set at 45 degrees. Lock that in. And I'll cut both of them at one time because they're both the same length here. Stack them up here. There's my mark. And bring my saw down, and I can see my mark there. And I'm going to cut it a little big. And I'm going to keep pushing it in and sneak up on my mark there. It's always better to take a second cut. You can't put wood back on it. So let me grab my trim piece, walk her into here, and what I'm using for a nailer is, this is a 15 gauge nailer. It might be a little big. I could have probably get by with my 18 gauge Milwaukee nailer here, but that's all I got, so it's going to have to work. It leaves a little bigger head on there, but I think it'll be fine. So pretty straightforward. Take and line your piece up on here. There, we got a nail in there. So I'll just go through, finish nailing this in, and we'll get a top piece, and we're going to have this thing trimmed out. Door is all trimmed in, and don't be bashful about putting some latex caulk at your joints there and let it squeeze out, and get the clear. Never buy the white caulking. It'll come back to bite you every time. So I put that all dry. So once this is done, you're not going to see that corner joint on there. And one other thing you notice, I always put a 45 on the edge of all my trim when possible, because that way the dust is not going to be sitting on top of your door. So next step, we need to get a handle in here, and let's get out over to the bench. Now, when picking out a handle, I got this at Menards up in Wisconsin, and this is what I've got. This is a pretty good quality. This is the best quality one that Menards had. They've got some all the way down to $8 or $10. If you have a temporary situation where you need a latch for your door, that's the route to go. But if you plan on using the door for any amount of time, pay up and get the best one you can afford on there, because the labor to change out all those door latches that are going to fail are going to get it more expensive than getting a good one in the first place. So let's see what we got here. Pretty simple, straightforward. You got the door latch. It comes with some hardware here and instructions. Don't lose this piece. This is the piece that I'm going to use on there. You got two options to put your striker in. You need this piece here. That's your little key to get in there. Save that. And it comes with screws. These are the only two screws you need. Throw these in your miscellaneous screw bin. They're not going to do you any good putting the door together. So, straightforward. This comes out of here. This comes out of here. And right here. Now, this is the first part that we got to put in there. Since we're using this style of latch, if you have an existing door and you've got the two screws in the full one, or if you want to cut this in to your door, this is probably a better option, but we're going to go with this one. This just pops off of here. And this comes out of here. Throw these in your miscellaneous door parts bin. I'm not a hoarder, but I will keep those for a little while. Now, here's the piece that we're going to use. And that just slides over the top on here. And you're all set. So to put this in, you need, guess what? We're going with caulking again. What a surprise. Go to the door. There, we got a good supply of caulking in there, and that's going to do a couple things for you. It's going to secure this from rattling around, because once this starts to rattle, it's going to open that hole up, and your door is pretty much going to be junk unless you got to do a little bit of repair and try to get that in there. So it's best to secure it at the get-go. So I caulk that. Well, now that I got the caulking in there, you got to take your finger and just smear that caulking around in that inside of that whole piece there. There we go. Make sure this goes in the right direction and don't get any caulking on the mechanical part of it. Slide that in there like that. Make sure that that's lined up straight up and down. Take a block of wood. Give her a couple of smacks. I'll give her a couple more smacks to get that set in there. That's all you got to do. That's as simple gets. So let me get that set, and then let's go with the lock set over here. One other step of the process here. I don't know if it makes a difference, but it does to me. This door that I put in here, there's a different way you can go in there because your hand sits right here. This one, the latch is the other direction. I want to have them all so that when you grab a hold of it, your hand fits in here and then it hits. So that means I have to switch these handles around from one side to the other. And it's pretty straightforward. That's what this little pin is handy for. Pull that pin, push it on there, and then that slides apart. Push on the pin, slides apart. So take this off of here, and this one off of here, and slide that one into there. Slide this one into here, and push your little tab down There we go, lock it in. Push the little tab down, lock it in. Now, we're almost ready to go. I missed one step, and I'll show you that in a second. And the step I missed, what a surprise, involves caulking. Anything you can do to keep these from rattling out is definitely going to add on to the lifespan of the latches in your door. So just put a little, you don't need much, and that'll go right into, just a little dab into where the threads are going to go into, so that that screw isn't going to rattle loose on you, because in time they do rattle loose. So now we're ready to go install this. So this part just slides into here, and you put some screws in there. These are the 2 screws we saved out of the package. Well, let me get these couple screws in there, and we're going to have a door handle, or at least part of it. And then we got to work on the striker part. The last piece of the door puzzle here. Striker plate. You saw that I put a big long screw right down the center. I filled that with caulking behind this cavity. We want everything we can do to beef this area up, because this is what takes the abuse. Striker plate. That goes in here. But my trim, I have to cut a little bit out of there so that I can sit in there with the trim. Now that I got it traced out, chisel, and just slowly take it up to your line where you had it. Well, I've got that cut in there where I like it. It sits a little bit flush right here. Next step of the process. You guessed it, more caulking. It's a dollop of caulk right on this back side here. That'll do it. There again, you're just trying to keep the rattle out of there so all the load isn't on the screws. And that's in there. Push that in there. And the screws that came with it were too short. They don't get into the jamb, so I got a longer screw on here. I will get the screw gun out, and we will get these screws in here. And that's how I put a door and a door handle together. There we go. You want to have just a little play back and forth in here. About a 1/16 of an inch. That's the max. No, that worked out pretty good. So hopefully that was helpful for somebody if you're going to be putting a door and a door handle in there. Next step of the process is for me is to figure out the trim work around all 4 doors. That'll be my this afternoon's project. But it is Thursday. Thursday's dump day, and we accumulated some dump. But as long as I'm going to town, you know, I think I'm going to stop and get myself something to eat. So, well, thanks for sticking around while I was working on this project. So, talk to you guys later. You get some bonus footage on this video. I just made it to the Jamestown dump or recycling center, convenience center, that's what it's called. So you just literally drive up here underneath, the guy gets your pulls your junk out. Pretty nice setup they got here. Well, let me get all the junk out and on to the big city. I made it to the big city. We got a Tractor and Supply, and where I'm heading is over to the Prehung buffet. I'm gonna have a sit-down meal today. No more peanut butter and jelly for me. So, talk to you guys later. Thank you for watching Alan's Day. Life is about making choices. Some things are already perfect. Some things you may choose to upgrade. This channel will show you both. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thanks again.